Hello everyone, it's me, back here again. Um, Funnily enough, that video, despite me not having like any subscribers, got, a couple of views, no comments, but, that's fine, I guess. So, I guess I kind of just wanted to get more thoughts into the void of the internet. I'm not necessarily expecting these videos to blow up by any chance, but funnily enough, if they do, then whatever, I don't care. You know, Even me being, a air quotes neat, and I don't really like labels by any means, but the only way to really like convey anything these days is for people to hear like general terms for some reason, and they feel like they can relate better at that point. And so, like, one of the things about being a neat that I think people don't seem to understand is that people like us who are like unemployed and actively looking for work and whatnot, we're not in the education system. Some of us, some people will tell us that like if you just go to college, man, if you just go to college, if you just do trade school. And funnily enough, one of my plans is to do trade school. I have no intentions on ever going to college because college is a complete sham. It's mainly just there to just essentially get money out of you. Like, you spend like 2 years, 4 years, 6 to 8 years, if you're going to get a doctorate. So let's just say on average 4 years, right? Getting a degree, hoping that it's going to put you somewhere. And you are not guaranteed anything. For that entire time, you're not guaranteed anything. Like, even if you get your degree, right? You have a bunch of other stuff. It depends on like what the degree is in the first place. But you have a bunch of other things that you're doing there that you are just essentially wasting time for. My friend went to college before he dropped out. He went to college and like he said that in like the 2 years he was there, like he was doing yoga and crap. I was like, why is it's not even yoga like as like extracurricular. It's like it was like a mandatory class, and he's like, why am I doing yoga at this so-called like place of higher learning where they're charging me to be here? Like, why am I being essentially forced to take something as useless and asinine as yoga? And I'm not talking about yoga being useless as like entirely. I get that it has health benefits and stuff like that, but considering that you're paying for the class, why would you be forced to take something as asinine as yoga? I don't understand that, like, at all. Doesn't make any sense to me. But I digress. You end up, and I'm sorry, like, if I touch the mic, I have the headset and I'm gonna see how it sounds with this because I'm actually recording this just off my phone and whatnot. So yeah. Um, Sorry if you hear that truck going by. But whatever. Like, so you go to these universities, you hope that it pays off, and it doesn't even remotely seem like it's going to do that. It's not even. The only thing you're really promised is debt. You're only really promised the debt. You're only promised that you're gonna have bastards essentially trying to freaking come after your paycheck if you aren't careful. You know. And then you just look back at that and you just say, wow, I'm not even guaranteed a job. Because a lot of the things that you might even be interested in. Excuse me. I'm yawning. Still just got up, but whatever. A lot of the things that you may be interested in, they might not even have a good bit of that as your, Hold up, look at this. Oh. Little bird flying around here. I guess I got lucky. Whatever. Things that you may be interested in might not even be available near you. Like, there are some places that I hear, like, where, like, oh, like, you essentially get paid to, like, fly out and do stuff, but that's very rare. Like, most people are not gonna, like, have the luck of the cards, like, with them like that. So even if you were fortunate enough to, like, find something that you were interested in and whatnot, you'd still have to, like essentially find a way to get there sometimes, because sometimes the jobs aren't even in the same freaking state. And like I said, like in my last video, it's not like a whole bunch of us are in a position where we can just like drive that far or even catch a plane. Because even if you caught the plane there or something like that, unless you're able to, excuse me, sorry if that sounds nasty. If you're able to have some kind of way that you can live guaranteed over there, then you might be stuck. Because the last thing you want is to like go to like some of these places where they say, all right, well, we kind of want you to like essentially relocate to like where we are for the job, and then you're essentially left with like no real way to live. Don't get it twisted. This is not like every place. This isn't, like me just saying it. And I'm sorry if I just sound like I'm rambling a little, but this isn't necessarily like me just saying that it's impossible, because I have seen places where like they will like pay you to come out there and they'll like give you housing and stuff while you're there, but still my main concern is like what happens if they want to fire you, because in today's day and age, like people can just fire you for any reason, right? They don't really need a reason to fire you. And so like even if you went out there, like what happens if they just want to fire you at that point? Like I doubt that you stay in the house, because it's usually housing that is provided mainly for the ability so that you can work there. So yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing. But like me, like I said, like being a NEET or whatever, and kind of speaking on behalf of people in this position, we do know that things are not necessarily just going to instantly be like a million times better. I don't know what the heck that was. Be a million times better if we're working and whatnot. Because listen, work is essentially wage slavery. Okay, like especially in America, like we're working harder for less than we've ever had in any point of history. Oh sure, like boomers are gonna talk about how, oh well, back in my day I didn't have the internet and all of this high definition crap and whatnot. Yeah, but your dollar was worth more, if you have watched my previous video. If you're like one of the 16 people that watched it, right, then you'll know that, like I said, their dollar was worth more. Their dollar actually went somewhere. They could buy houses for like freaking 30K and stuff like that, sometimes 10K if it was like a little tiny house. Like, they have no idea what it means. And don't get it twisted, I acknowledge that 10K back then was like more. I acknowledge that it was still more money, but what I'm trying to get at here is, even though like you still have to like actually do the calculations to actually figure out how much money that was back in the day, considering that 10K back then is not equivalent to like 10K now, considering that the dollar's value has gone down, they still got paid more. When you really calculate it, they still had more money and it went farther. You could do more with your money for less, and that is just a factual statement. Even though like again, like it's calculated differently, their money went farther than it does now. Just because we're getting paid $30 an hour here does not necessarily equate to the amount of money that $30 an hour would have gotten back then, if that was possible. And I'm sure it was, just probably not very probable for most Americans to make $30 an hour back then, because like I said, $30 an hour back then was way more than $30 an hour now. So yeah, when you tell people that, they don't really listen to you, because like I said, like most people now, like even if we start working, even if we work 2 jobs, there's not much guarantee that like you can even dream of buying a house right now. Like most houses, like I live in Miami, right? Miami, Florida. Most houses down here, like even in bad neighborhoods, like even in places where like your neighbors are essentially in freaking pissing distance, like they're trying to charge you, 400K for a freaking piss poor house that is not like properly repaired, that doesn't even meet standards. Because I freaking despise this idea that people try and say, oh well, it's just the market, bro, and stuff like that. Like no. Like if you're gonna at least charge me for that house should at least look new. The freaking pipe should be new, like the housing should be new, everything about that house should actually be new. And you have the gall to like charge me that much money for a house that I don't even have any semblance of privacy. I have to do so many repairs on. Like, are you kidding me, dude? That's usually just the nature of business in general. Like, when it comes down to business, like, they just cut corners as much as they can. They pretend like, oh, this place is certified and stuff, because they just want to make the sell. and just get out of there, and hopefully you're too stupid to like know what to look for. You know, one of the most important things that you should look for when it comes down to housing, not that I'm trying to make this video off topic, is like you know, like check the pipes, especially like know if like they're metal pipes. If they're metal pipes, then they're usually corroded because that house was probably there for like decades and stuff like that. So you really got to check that stuff. But trying to get back to the point, like we know, like NEETs, right? We know that that like even if we did get work, like the idea that like you're gonna have like a house in today's day and age is like pretty much a dream, at least in this country, because it seems like right now the best goal for most people is to like get American money and just leave, like straight up. Or at least if you're going to stay in America, you have to like go rural, because there are places in rural America that will essentially pay you to like move there and stuff like that. So that's probably your best bet. But even then, it's like you don't have freedom. Like you can say that you bought it, but you still have to pay property taxes, and you still need all these permits to do stuff on your own goddamn property. So you know what's really free about that. So you know, us NEETs, like when we're looking at stuff, like we know that even once we get a job, it's like it's not going to necessarily mean that it's the end of problems. It's kind of just micromanaging problems. Oh, there's a little blue jay. It shows a nice little spot. I don't know if you can see that, but there he is. You know, I kind of like coming outside because often I'm basically just in my house, like, you know, just doing research about history. And like I said, you know, playing video games, listening to music, and looking for work, obviously. You know, I'm not just gaming and not trying to find work. But, you know, it's just very tedious looking for work today, because it's either you're just looking on, like, websites, and I freaking despise Indeed, I hate LinkedIn, they're both freaking useless. But then you look at these places where they actually link you to, and they link you on the page and stuff like that for, like, the actual company websites, and it's not any better, dude. It's like, it literally, I said this on my last video, right, but it literally looks like they made this during IT tech era, like where you had fatback computers, the really big computers and stuff like that, the really old ones, yeah. That's literally what it looks like the websites were made of, and I just don't understand. Sorry again. I'm not, like, really tired. I don't know why I'm yawning. Maybe it's just mental exhaustion. I have noticed that I sleep a bit more, because it's like it's not exactly like I have much to do around here. You know? But I digress. I felt like I was like I had so much frustration on my mind in the last video, and now I kind of vented it, and so I'm not really talking as much as I feel like I could talk, but it's whatever. I'm going to just continue this and get this ahead. Like, looking for work is just ridiculous. It's like I said last video. Like, I think the worst mistake we ever made was allowing the internet to have any say in how jobs work. I think that the internet should not be done away with, but like jobs should go back to being mandated to like have to do interviews on a regular basis. They have to allow physical interviews. I mean, they should get to the point where they're so lazy to the point where they have to just hire someone off of that at that point, because I think that they need to be penalized in some way, because you can't sit around here and then blame everything on like a young population who's so-called not working when you're actively being the most like picky bastards. It's like, in a lot of aspects, someone said it best, right? Like, looking for work online is like looking for a date online. You just get ghosted all the time. And I was like, you know, that's essentially it. Not that I would know anything about online dating, considering that I don't bother looking, because dating apps are a complete joke. But you know, you do all this heavy lifting, you do all this like searching when it comes down for work, and you can't find anything. You just can't find anything. I don't know. I don't know like what they were thinking right now. And like I said, this freaking invasion of this country does not really help that factor, because like I said, they could just pay those suckers like $5, and they think that they're making a whole bunch of money, because $5 in American money, you know, and you know that's a lot of money for them. They think that's like good money because they haven't figured it out. And even if they have figured it out, I guess it doesn't matter that much if You know, you're getting freaking food stamps guaranteed, and you're getting housing guaranteed, and cars guaranteed. I mean, listen, these suckers live it up. And some of these, like, states, dude, like, you get promised that. They literally build those guys their own community. They literally built the migrants their own community. Well, they're not migrants. Let me go ahead and correct that. They're freaking illegals. If you actually migrated here, that's different. But illegals, they get their own communities. They built them their own communities. They guarantee them jobs. Like, I feel like that's a whole other thing, right? Because, you see, what I've been doing as I've been looking for work, right, is I look on websites, but I've also started calling. I've been calling places that are, like, close to me. And something I've wondered is this, right? How can a business that does not have a website, that when you call it, constantly says that they're not actively looking for work, how can a business survive? Something's not adding up here. I think that there are just, like, places here where it's like they get jobs essentially through, like, the immigrants. Because, like, I've noticed that when I go to, like, these stores, when I go to these locations, right, when I, like, go and I ask them if they're hiring and stuff like that, they're usually Spanish people that, you know limited English, you know, stuff like that. You know, they kind of speak like they know limited English, which even then I feel like a lot more like Spanish people know English than they let on, mainly due to my high school, where they knew that they could just pretend like they didn't know English and they'd still get passed. So, yeah, that wasn't exactly a good time. But I digress on that too. There's just no way to me that these places that are, like, really close by to you somehow they're just not, like, you know, what's the best way to put this? They're somehow able to maintain being open without hiring. There's just no way. There's no way. I sincerely doubt that the same person working there is the same person that's been working there for 30 years. Is that possible? It's obviously possible, but probable? Probably not. And it's not just going to be one person. One person's not going to freaking operate that store. You know, they're not going to load it and all that stuff, so yeah, doesn't really, it's not adding up. You know, it's not adding up. That's why I have the stance that I have, that they have to be letting people in here. They just have to be there. I just don't. I don't think that these people are getting jobs, like, on their own. I think they're getting jobs that are, like, promised to them or something, because there's no way that, like, someone with a cell phone, right? Someone with the internet who is actively pursuing the job and stuff like that, and then not getting it, there's no way that, like, a person who's able to basically come to this country with essentially nothing and then get a job like that without any of that, there's no way that they got that by themselves. There's no way. There's something set up so that those people can get it. I don't necessarily know what it is. I'm not going to pretend like I know. But, it's definitely going on. Again, I promise I promise. I apologize if, my thoughts aren't as structured as they were last time. I'll probably try and work on that a bit better. Try not to ramble a bit, but right now I'm just doing this mainly to vent, man. I have so much frustration just built in, and, you know, I don't really like the idea of going to, like, therapy or something, considering that therapy is a complete joke, and therapy is just infiltrated with a whole bunch of freaking wokies that encourage you to do debaucherous crap and stuff like that. So, yeah. Blue Jay, please don't interrupt the video. But, yeah. I feel like this is just a nice place to vent, so I'll just leave it here, you know. It's definitely not as structured, air quotes, as my other video, but I'll work on that, folks. You know, I actually used to make videos a bit more, and I used to, like, not script them, but I'd have, like, some stuff written out, but that was a bit ago. That when I was, like, a bit more passionate and stuff like that. But right now, I don't know, I'm just not as passionate, and it's mainly due to, I guess, just being mentally exhausted and just demotivated thanks to not being able to, like, find work and whatnot. By no means am I, like, super depressed or anything. I don't want to say I don't believe in depression by any means. It's obviously real, but it doesn't do anything. You know, it doesn't get anything done. Like, if you're just laying in a bed all day, because I've been depressed, like, once in my life, essentially, after I basically was ousted from the military at least from trying to be recruited, at least, right? I'm sure if there was a world war, they'd try and force me back in, but F that. I've essentially been depressed at that point, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't accomplish anything. Like, I'm not telling you to just be like, oh, don't be depressed, bro, or some stupid crap like that. But, it doesn't accomplish anything, and you have to get out of that bed and find something to do, you know? It doesn't have to be work by any means, you know? Maybe it's just going for a walk. Something. You have to, like, find something to, like, get you out of that little rut that you're in. And even if you can't get out of the rut completely, just get your mind out of that rut, you know? That's kind of what I'm doing, so. Trying to make these videos to stay sane, stuff like that. Actively looking for work. Hopefully I can find it. You know, and if I can't, then whatever. And, you know, if you relate to what I'm saying, you know, leave me some comments, man. Maybe we can relate to each other and help each other stay sane in a clown world. But I'm going to leave it here. Let me know how the audio sounds. I hope that this audio sounds better than, like, you know, just talking into my phone. That way I don't have to talk as loud, and it's not as much of a strain on my voice. So, I'll go ahead and leave it here, and thank you for watching if you did watch, and God bless you. And I'll see you in the next one.